You know that person who always has a reason not to come. Sick again, tired again, maybe next time. You might be that person. And if you are, what you're doing isn't avoiding anyone. You're protecting something. There's a Friday night in versus a Friday night out. And for some people, a real, documented percentage of the population, the in is not the consolation prize, it's the preference. Not because they're sad, not because something went wrong, but because their nervous system is wired for depth over noise, and quiet is where they actually come alive. Here's the part nobody warns you about. The research on solitude doesn't say what most people assume. It doesn't say that people who prefer being alone are lonely, anxious, or broken. It says the opposite. And what the next few minutes explain is why some nervous systems are literally built for this, and what that wiring actually gives you that constant socialization quietly takes away. Psychologists call it optimal arousal theory. The idea is simple. Different nervous systems have different set points for stimulation. Some people need more input to feel engaged, the noise, the movement, the social energy. Others hit their optimal point much sooner. For them, more stimulation doesn't add, it costs. This isn't introversion as a personality type, it's a nervous system running on a different fuel source. And here's what that means in practice. Every social interaction, even a good one, even when you enjoyed, runs a cost for people wired this way. Solitude isn't recovery from something bad, it's maintenance. It's how the system recharges. Here's what makes it more interesting. Studies on solitude and creative output consistently show that the people who choose to be alone aren't disengaging from the world, they're processing it. Psychologist Esther Buchholz spent decades researching the relationship between solitude and psychological health. Her finding? The capacity to be alone, not as avoidance, but as genuine preference, is one of the most reliable markers of inner richness. People who need solitude tend to have a more active inner life. They process experiences more deeply, they form fewer but stronger connections, and they have a much lower tolerance for surface-level anything, which is why small talk feels less like a minor inconvenience and more like a quiet drain on something they can't easily refill. And here's the second layer most people miss. For people with a lower optimal arousal threshold, the home environment isn't just comfortable, it's the one space where they control the inputs. Out there, the stimulation is unpredictable, the noise levels, the social demands, the unexpected interactions. At home, you control the light, the sound, the pace. For a nervous system that processes everything at higher resolution, that control isn't a preference, it's a functional requirement. This is why people who love being alone often thrive in focused work, deep reading, meaningful one-on-one connection. It's not that they need less from the world, it's that they need it in a form they can actually receive. You were told at some point that there was something wrong with this, that you needed to get out more, that you were missing out, that choosing to stay home instead of going out was something to explain, to justify, to apologize for. None of that was true. Your nervous system wasn't broken, it wasn't underdeveloped or antisocial or afraid, it was calibrated to a different frequency than the one that gets celebrated. The world is built for the people who recharge in noise. That doesn't make the noise the right setting. It just means you've been adjusting your volume down your whole life to fit into rooms that were mixed for someone else. You're not lonely, you're full from the inside, and that is a completely different thing. Here's what actually governs this. The people who love being alone aren't opting out of connection. They're opting out of a specific kind of it, the shallow, obligatory, performance-based kind that drains rather than restores. What they choose instead tends to be smaller and more deliberate, fewer people, longer conversations, more honesty, less performance. And the solitude isn't emptiness, it's where they do their actual thinking, where they process what happened and figure out what they actually believe, where the inner life, which tends to be unusually active, gets the space it needs to move. So, if you've ever felt like you owed someone an explanation for being fine on your own, you don't. Choosing solitude over noise isn't a character flaw. It's not loneliness dressed up as preference. It's a nervous system that knows what it needs and has learned, usually against some resistance, to actually give it to itself. Drop a comment. Is it the recharging alone that you relate to most, or the feeling that you owe people an explanation for it? Most people find it's one more than the other. If this explains something you've never had words for, subscribe. That's what every video on this channel is trying to do.